Would you believe it? We're on episode 3 and it hasn't even been 24 hours. So today's topics are a bit, controversial. I got some, some hot topic kind of questions. So I'm not going to apologize ahead of time for offending anybody because I don't think anyone should be offended at my personal opinion. It doesn't affect your life or your opinion in any way. Sorry if we disagree, but I guess that's the beauty of, ask me anything. So my first question comes from Anonymous, 16 from Wisconsin, and it's what's your view on slut shaming? See, I feel like this question is asking two different questions with two very different answers at the same time to trick me. So Google defines slut shaming as a neologism used to describe the act of making any person feel guilty or inferior for certain sexual behaviors or desires that deviate from traditional or orthodox gender expectations. So I think that's about accurate, and it's not that much, sometimes words have like a definite meaning, and then in, society it's kind of twisted, it's kind of another idea, but I think this is kind of in line. And that's where I kind of feel also that there's a fork in the road in terms of my answer to the question. Am I against making people feel guilty about things they want to do that have no effect on me, or especially those anyway that have no effect on me? Yeah, of course I am, because everyone is free to do whatever they want. I can't force my beliefs and morals on anyone else, just like they can't do that to me. On the other hand, however, I am completely against people in general being sluts. And I hesitate to use the word not to offend anybody. I just think it's a really derogatory term in general. Like, if someone, like I said, I am against the idea which I'm saying, like, someone who has just multiple sexual partners, I think it's wrong. I'm not just coming from a religious standpoint either. It's unhealthy, and it's, in the end, it takes the meaning and significance, I think, out of relationship and sex in general. But, I know what you're thinking, oh, Maha, that's so sexist. But I never said I was talking about girls in particular, because I don't think it's right for people of any age or any gender that, like, for that matter, to treat sex so lightly and just sleep around, whether they're in a relationship or not. I'm not saying, cheating and, sleeping around people while you're in a relationship is, slut-like behavior, but not if you're single. No, either way, it's still, you're still just kind of throwing your body around, like, to different people. And like I said, I don't think sex should be treated so lightly. So, yeah, that goes for girls and guys. So, in a big picture kind of answer, big cover answer, which I don't like, I'm against slut shaming, because it's fundamentally wrong to shame anyone for anything they choose to do based on my own beliefs, or someone else's beliefs. But I think it's wrong that girls feel like they need to be sexually active or sexually deviant, just for the sake of defying society's expectations. Just like how guys shouldn't be sexually active or sexually deviant just to satisfy society's stereotypes of men. Also, on a side note, the asker of the question included 2 videos. One of Jenna Marbles, it's the second video in her Slut Edition series, I guess, and a quote-unquote liberal response, or quite a liberal response, sorry, by Lacey Green to the Jenna Marbles video. I'm not a fan of Lacey Green in general. I've seen a lot of her videos, and honestly, I think she takes things a little out of proportion and kind of blows up the issue of feminism to make it seem like all women, as a rule, are constantly being oppressed in American society, and I have to disagree. I think oppression is a much bigger term than it is thrown around, especially in feminist arguments. I'm not an anti-feminist, but it's people who take stances like, like Lacey Green and stuff like that, that make one, want to shy away from being called a feminist. The Slut Edition video by Jenna Marbles, on the other hand, I didn't find much wrong with it for, like, a really simple reason, and that's what she constantly, repeatedly stated it as her own opinion. I don't think it was much in the way of slut shaming as a social issue as much as she maybe makes judgments about people that she defines. She has her own definition of a slut. Honestly, we all make judgments of people we don't know, even if you'll never ever admit it. And her simply stating it out loud doesn't make it any better or worse. It's a fact, we judge people, and she does too. So she can have her opinion, and just because it isn't, like, in line with what a feminist might say on the same topic, for example, I don't think it makes it wrong. So I feel like if this was supposed to be an example of slut shaming, and then Lacey Green was liberally, as you say, responding to it, I don't think it was a really good example. I don't think Jenna Marbles was slut shaming per se, especially not in the definition that we found. This next question comes from an anonymous asker from Michigan. They ask, where do you stand on gay marriage? Where? Okay. See, I don't feel like I'm the greatest authority on gay marriage, because I feel like talking about the subject in general is like trying not to step on the cracks of a wood panel floor. You know, it's touchy and controversial. Um, but I do feel like the gay community approaches it in a much better way than feminists do their hot topics. Getting back to the question though, it's another one of those two-pronged questions. Because if you're asking my personal opinion on gay marriage, my personal, belief about it as an idea, I have to state that, without hesitation, that I am a practicing Muslim, and so I personally believe that gay marriage is a sin. However, before you stop listening to me because I said that, on the flip side, I think it should be legal. It boils down to, why is the government opposed to it in the first place? What is their argument against gay marriage or against the legality of gay marriage? Without naming names, in general, the people against gay marriage have one big argument, and it's soaked in religion. And as a religious person, let me say that I find that completely wrong, because I don't think religion has any place in the government, well, especially not in the USA. And I'm not going to pull out the church and, separation of church and state. It's really more of it's much more simple than that. I just think it's wrong to impose any of your personal beliefs, whether moral or religious or otherwise, on someone else who doesn't see you, even if they do see it the same way. You're only accountable for yourself, especially in your beliefs. You can't hold someone accountable to your standard. Freedom of religion doesn't mean, okay, you're allowed to be religious, you're allowed to be atheist, but we're going to have religious law anyway. If a man wants to marry another man, do I think it's wrong? Yeah, in my religion, it is wrong. So is drinking, so is eating pork, but I don't think those should be illegal. Extramarital sex is a sin in Christianity. Why is that not up for legal debate? I think the conservatives opposing the legality of same-sex marriage are choosing irrelevant battles instead of dealing with more important issues. I'm not saying it's irrelevant because it's not important whether or not they get marriage rights. I'm saying irrelevant as in it shouldn't be such a controversial topic. They should, if they want to get married, they can get married. Let's move on to more important things, The topic of legality, no matter what it's for, it's not a religious debate. It has there's no place for religion in it because it's a completely political one. If it's a political debate, why should it be approached from a religious standpoint? So to answer your question, basically, I believe same-sex marriage should be legal. My third question, and final one for this episode, is kind of a more simple question. Comes from Anonymous, who also suspiciously is from Alabama. I did change my drop-down menu, so the first thing is select state, in case you don't want to tell me where you're from, because I don't believe people in Alabama are like, oh yeah, time to send Maha my questions. Anyway, they ask, what is your view on gay people? I think that's a funny question, because had anything else been in front of people other than gay, I think this would have been a whole nother issue, like, what's your view on black people? It would have been like, oh my god, racism, how could you even ask that? I wouldn't have said that, but the question in general would have, received that kind of response. Well, since it's gay people, it's okay, like, view on gay people, that's a new one. I guess I don't really understand where you're going. I mean, people are people. Their sexual orientation doesn't bother me because I don't think it's any of my business. I guess I don't have a particular view on gay people. I'm not one of those people. I know some people who would respond saying, oh my god, I love gay people, but I think that's that's like generalization. Maybe there's some people out there who are gay who you're just gonna hate, and there's nothing wrong with that. You just like some people, there's nothing wrong with hating a gay person per se. I'm not saying hate them because they're gay. I'm saying if you just don't like someone, then you just don't like them. There's nothing wrong with that. But view on gay people in general, I guess I don't have one. That's a good question. I guess I think we should all ask ourselves, what do I think of this particular sexual orientation of people? That has no effect on my life necessarily. I mean, if you're gay, then I guess that'd be even like more of a, how could I have an opinion on this whole group of people when I don't know every single one kind of thing. So Anonymous, I think I understand what you were getting at. Maybe you're saying like another way you could have worded it is, do I think being gay is wrong? And I kind of answered that because I said gay marriage, is against my religion. So it's being gay. But I don't judge people because they're sinning in my religion, Like, that doesn't make sense. If they don't believe in it, then it doesn't bother me that they're doing it. They're not making me, and they're not they're not trying to push their beliefs and morals on me. So, I mean, live and let live. I guess that's my answer to that. Thank you for listening to episode 3 of Ask Maha Anything. If you like this, please feel free to share, or you can send me a question on Twitter, my website, or my email, askmaha.blog@gmail.com.